Karl Marx's name evokes fierce debate, profound influence, and enduring relevance. A thinker whose ideas reshaped politics, economics, and social theory. Marx remains one of history's most consequential intellectuals. His life, marked by exile, poverty, relentless scholarship, and an unwavering belief in human emancipation, offers a compelling narrative of how one mind can alter the trajectory of global thought. Born on May 5, 1818 in Trier, then part of the Kingdom of Prussia, modern-day Germany, Karl Heinrich Marx grew up in a middle-class Jewish family that had converted to Christianity. His father, Heinrich Marx, was a lawyer. His mother, Henriette Pressburg, came from a Dutch merchant family. Young Karl displayed early intellectual promise, devouring books and engaging in philosophical debates. He attended the University of Bonn briefly before transferring to the University of Berlin, where he immersed himself in Hegelian philosophy and joined radical intellectual circles. By his mid-20s, he had abandoned plans for a legal career to pursue journalism and philosophy. His early career unfolded against a backdrop of political repression in 19th century Europe. In 1842, he became editor of the Rheinische Zeitung, a liberal Cologne newspaper, where his incisive articles on poverty, censorship, and social inequality drew government scrutiny. The Prussian authorities shut down the paper in 1843, forcing Marx into exile. He moved to Paris, then Brussels, constantly under surveillance by European governments suspicious of his radical ideas. In Paris, he met Friedrich Engels, a young industrialist's son who would become his lifelong collaborator and financial supporter. Their partnership proved pivotal. Engels' insights into factory life and capitalist exploitation complemented Marx's theoretical rigor. The 1840s marked the crystallization of his core ideas. The Communist Manifesto 1848, co-authored with Engels, became one of the most influential political texts ever written. Its opening line, "A specter is haunting Europe, the specter of communism," captured the era's revolutionary mood. The pamphlet outlined the struggle between classes, predicted capitalism's collapse, and called for workers' unity. Though the revolutions of 1848 failed, Marx continued refining his theories, focusing on economics as the foundation of social change. London became his intellectual crucible. After being expelled from Belgium in 1849, Marx settled in London, where he would live for the rest of his life. The British Museum's reading room became his second home. He spent years studying economics, history, and industrial production. Despite grinding poverty and frequent illness, he produced groundbreaking work. A contribution to the critique of political economy 1859 laid the groundwork for his magnum opus. Das Kapital, Volume 1, published in 1867, offered a systematic critique of capitalism. Marx analyzed surplus value, commodity fetishism, and the inherent contradictions of a system driven by profit. Though he planned 6 volumes, only the first was completed in his lifetime. Engels later edited and published volumes 2 and 3 from Marx's notes. Personal hardships tested his resolve. He and his wife, Jenny von Westphalen, endured constant financial strain. Despite his intellectual stature, Marx struggled to secure stable income. Relying partly on Engels' generosity, the family suffered profound losses. 3 of their 7 children died in infancy, and Jenny endured years of illness before her death in 1881. Marx himself battled bronchitis, liver ailments, and insomnia, yet he maintained an astonishing work ethic, often writing through the night. Key intellectual contributions defined his legacy. Historical materialism. He argued that material conditions, how societies produce and distribute goods, shape politics, culture, and ideas, not the reverse. Theory of alienation. He described how capitalism separates workers from the products of their labor, their creative potential, and even their humanity. Labor theory of value. He posited that commodities' value stems from human labor, while capitalists extract profit by paying workers less than the value they create. Analysis of class conflict. He saw history as a series of struggles between dominant and subordinate classes, with capitalism creating a global working-class proletariat destined to overthrow the bourgeoisie. Beyond theory, he engaged with real-world movements. He helped found the International Workingmen's Association First International in 1864, aiming to unite workers across national borders. He supported the Paris Commune of 1871, viewing it as a glimpse of working-class self-governance, though it was brutally crushed. His writings on colonialism, nationalism, and gender, though limited by his era's biases, showed his attempt to understand oppression. Beyond economics, posthumous influence surpassed his lifetime recognition. By the time of his death on March 14, 1883, Marx was respected among socialist circles, but not yet the global icon he would become. Engels' editorial work ensured the publication of Das Kapital's remaining volumes, spreading Marx's ideas across Europe and beyond. The Russian Revolution of 1917 catapulted Marxism to global prominence, though the Soviet interpretation often diverged from his original texts. Throughout the 20th century, his ideas inspired anti-colonial movements, labor struggles, and critical theories in philosophy, sociology, and cultural studies. What endures in his thought? Critique of capitalism. His analysis of capitalism's crises, inequality, and dehumanizing effects remains a reference point for economists and activists. Interdisciplinary approach. He fused philosophy, history, economics, and sociology, creating a holistic framework for understanding society. Emphasis on agency. He believed humans could shape history through collective action, not passive acceptance of fate. Global vision. He foresaw capitalism's worldwide reach and workers' shared interests across borders, prescient in an age of globalization. Modern relevance continues to spark debate. Scholars re-examine his writings on ecology, technology, and urbanization, finding insights for contemporary challenges. Movements for economic justice. From Occupy Wall Street to debates about automation and universal basic income, often echo his critiques of exploitation. Even critics acknowledge his profound impact on how we think about power, inequality, and social change. Today, Marx's legacy is complex, revered by some, reviled by others, but impossible to ignore. His life story is one of intellectual courage. A man who, despite poverty, exile, and personal tragedy, dedicated himself to understanding and transforming the world. He left not just a body of work, but a way of questioning, urging us to look beneath the surface of institutions, to see the human stakes in economic systems, and to imagine alternatives. Karl Marx's journey from Prussian journalist to London-based theorist reminds us that ideas, when rooted in rigorous analysis and moral conviction, can outlive their creators and reshape the course of history. Whether one agrees with his conclusions or not, his insistence on examining power, labor, and inequality ensures his relevance in any era grappling with the forces that define human societies.